It may seem that today, with our quite advanced technological development, science can explain pretty much any natural phenomenon. But that's not always true. Some things still stump experts and make them build exotic theories. Let's have a look at some of such phenomena. Hessdalen lights are a puzzling phenomenon you can observe in Hessdalen Valley in central Norway. The thing is that some highly unusual lights can often be seen over the valley. They appear mostly at night. The lights are typically white, but they occasionally turn yellowish or reddish. Nobody knows what makes them change color. What's more, the lights can move. And if at one moment they seem to motionlessly hang in midair, the next minute they may travel somewhere at lightning speed. There's no certain place where they appear, and you can't predict the duration of their stay. Despite all the research that has been done since the 1980s, scientists are still unable to explain this phenomenon as well as such weird behavior of lights. The Sardine run lasts from May to July. During this time, millions of sardines swim northward along South Africa's east coast. You can probably imagine a feeding frenzy that starts at that time. It's believed that the water temperature must get lower than 70 degrees Fahrenheit for the migration to begin. This mushroom with a difficult name, Corioactis gister, is only found in Japan and Texas, and it makes scientists extremely confused. Why these two locations? It's true that they're on the same latitude, but these places are definitely not the only ones. Plus, they're so far away from each other. After studying the mushroom's DNA in 2004, experts suggested that the two populations might have been separated into two lineages around 19 million years ago. On Central Flores Island, there's a 3,000-foot-high volcano called Kelamutu. At its base, there is a small town. If you want to see the main attraction of the area, you'll most definitely stay there. And the attraction I'm talking about is 3 lakes, known as the Lake of Old People, the Lake of Young Men and Maidens, and the Enchanted Lake. Why are these lakes so popular and attract so many people? They inexplicably change colors. Ancient legends claim that the lakes are the final resting place of human souls, and those souls stay in different lakes according to their actions. As for scientific research, no one has yet conducted any to discover the cause of the changing colors. But theorists suppose that it might be due to underwater volcanic activity. It might be pushing minerals to the lake's surface. Then, depending on what elements those are, the lakes can turn blood red, bright turquoise, or olive green. But the coolest thing? The lakes are never all the same color at the same time. This phenomenon is unique and hasn't been observed anywhere else in the world. Those who have ever heard an annoying noise a kettle makes to inform you the water inside is boiling can imagine what the whistle sounds like. Even though this noise isn't as blood-curdling as some other unexplained sounds, it doesn't make the whistle any less mysterious. It's incredibly elusive. In 1997, only one underwater microphone was able to pick it up. At that time, researchers didn't manage to pinpoint the source of the noise. The most likely cause of the unusual sound is an eruption of one of the submarine volcanoes. But once again, there's not enough proof to make sure. There's probably no person on Earth who doesn't marvel at the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. But not everyone knows that there is another triangle. Not so famous, but just as dangerous. Dragon's Triangle, or the Devil's Sea, lies in the area between Japan and the islands of Bonin. It covers a big part of the Philippine Sea as well. That's why people also call this place the Pacific Bermuda Triangle. Surprisingly, or not really, the Devil's Sea is situated exactly opposite the Bermuda Triangle. Ships and planes tend to disappear here with the same regularity as in the North Atlantic Triangle. People also report seeing ghost ships in the open sea. And while scientists provide logical reasons for the vanishing vessels and aircraft, most people still believe in the paranormal nature of Dragon's Triangle. For the first time, a bizarre sound later called the upsweep was registered in 1991 in the Pacific Ocean. One of the most unusual things about the sound is that it's constantly changing. It varies from high to low frequencies and then back again. You can hear it better in the spring and fall than in the winter and summer. The sound travels from the bottom of the ocean toward its surface. Scientists do have a theory explaining this phenomenon. They think it might be the activity of undersea volcanoes that causes the sound. Hot lava that's pouring into the ice-cold ocean water can theoretically produce such noise. But researchers haven't found any evidence to confirm this theory yet. On the thin Curonian spit splitting the Baltic Sea from the Curonian Lagoon, there is one of the most bizarre places on Earth. Locals call this area the Dancing Forest because pine trees in this forest have shockingly unusual shapes. They twist in spirals and circles along the ground. There are some theories why it could be happening, of course. Some people claim that huge amounts of positive and negative energies once clashed in that spot. More down-to-earth individuals believe that the reason is geological. Sandy soil in the area is too unstable to hold trees growing upright. The most popular is the idea that strong winds blowing from the water influence the shape of the trees. In any case, experts haven't come to the final conclusion yet. Patomskiy crater is described as a mount with a perfect shape. Its size is more than that of a 25-story building. It sits in the middle of the woods with its top chopped off and presents quite a sight. In fact, the shape of the crater is pretty unusual. It has a rounded inner dome that is about 40 feet high. At first sight, this formation looks like a volcano, but after a closer examination, you might realize that it's not the case. The dome in the center of the cone is extremely unusual for a volcano. In addition, there haven't been any volcanoes in this region for millions of years, while the age of the crater is estimated to be about 250 years. The weird shape that the crater has is like nothing scientists have ever seen. This, as well as the fact that any theory fails to explain the origin of the formation, adds to the mystery around it. And that's not the most terrifying thing. After researchers analyzed the growth rings of the trees near the crater, they found out that the trees experienced a period of strangely accelerated growth that lasted for 40 years. After that, they began to grow as they were supposed to. The level of radiation near the crater is also higher than in the nearby areas. No one has an explanation for this fact. On top of that, nothing grows on the blood-chilling formation. Perhaps because the crater also has a lovely habit of constant shifting. It rises and falls, influenced by some inexplicable force. Locals believe in the evil that dwells in that place. While exploring the Amazon rainforest, researchers discovered gigantic geoglyphs. They're geometrical drawings carved into the ground. The trenches were as large as 36 feet wide and 13 feet deep. They were created at different times, most between the 1st to the 15th century. There are more than 450 geoglyphs in the north of Bolivia and Brazil. The most ancient of them could have been created around 3,000 years ago. The huge earthworks were likely used for common meetings and discussions, but scientists haven't found enough proof yet.
About 2 billion years ago, a massive asteroid crashed into Earth, leaving behind total destruction and what we now call the Vredefort crater in South Africa. And get this space invader might have been way bigger than scientists originally thought, possibly twice the size of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Nowadays, the Vredefort crater is about 99 miles across, which makes it the biggest visible crater on Earth. But technically, it's still smaller than the Chicxulub crater in Mexico. The latter is about 112 miles, and it was left by the infamous dinosaur distractor 66 million years ago. But the thing is, craters don't stay the same forever. Over time, erosion wears them down. That's why they start looking smaller than they used to. And scientists think that when the Vredefort crater first formed, it could actually reach 174 miles across. That means it was the biggest impact site Earth has ever seen, even though it looks smaller today. Just imagine how insane that impact must have been. A space rock that would have sent shockwaves ripping across the planet, triggered enormous wildfires, and completely changed the climate. The asteroid likely hit Earth at a very, very high speed. But since this catastrophe happened billions of years ago, way before dinosaurs or even complex life saw the light of day, it didn't wipe anything out like the Chicxulub asteroid did. At the same time, recently, researchers have realized that the asteroid might have been even bigger than they thought previously, up to 15.5 miles wide. As for the speed at which it slammed into Earth, it could reach a staggering 56,000 miles per hour. Now, figuring out how big Vredefort originally was, that's been a bit of a headache. The main issue is that it's super old, and we're talking about 2 billion years old. No wonder that over that much time, erosion has kind of worn it down. So it's hard to tell just how huge it once was. But it's not just erosion causing the problem. Over the years, new layers of rock have built up over parts of the crater, and they've covered up most of the original structure. That's why now only little pieces of the raised rim are left, and this makes it even harder to get a clear idea of how big it was. So, scientists started looking at the minerals around the crater, like quartz and zircon. They discovered that those were all messed up by the asteroid's impact. They had tiny fractures caused by the blast. Researchers studied those damaged crystals and managed to figure out how far the explosion actually spread. Equipped by this new knowledge, scientists now believe that their latest estimates of the size of the asteroid are the most accurate ones. The reason why we haven't heard much about this disastrous impact is that, unlike the Chicxulub asteroid, which wiped out the dinosaurs and reshaped life on Earth, the Vredefort asteroid hit at a time when Earth was a very different place. There were no trees, no animals, just single-celled life in the oceans. That means no mass extinction, no burning forests, no fossilized evidence of chaos. But scientists think it still had a massive impact on the planet. It might have changed the climate even more dramatically than the asteroid that ended dinosaurs. But since we don't have much direct evidence of the disaster, studying what's left of the Vredefort crater is one of the only ways to understand just how powerful this impact was. Even though it happened billions of years ago, learning about this impact can help us understand the history of our planet, and maybe even prepare for future asteroid threats. After all, they could be similar to what happened in Siberia at the beginning of the 20th century, pretty recently. It was a warm morning, June 30th, 1908, when the sky suddenly lit up with a blinding flash. What followed was an explosion so powerful that it remained a mystery for decades. Known as the Tunguska event, it was one of the most baffling disasters in history. Scientists suspected an asteroid impact, similar to the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. But there was one eerie problem. No crater was ever found. The explosion struck deep in the remote forests of Siberia, near the Patomskiy Tunguska River. The blast was beyond anything seen before, flattening around 80 million trees across an area of 830 square miles. The sheer force of the event was mind-boggling. It was strong enough to devastate the landscape, scorch the ground, and wipe out countless animals. According to witnesses, there was an eerie glow in the sky, which was followed by a streaking fireball with an intense bluish light. It was brighter than the sun. Moments later, there was a deafening blast. The shockwave was so powerful that it shattered windows hundreds of miles away, and people were knocked off their feet. Yet, despite the destruction, the source of the explosion left no obvious trace. Later, scientists finally started to understand what had occurred on that day. Imagine a meteoroid racing into Earth's atmosphere, transforming into a blazing meteor. It's traveling so fast that the air in front of it compresses and heats up, setting it on fire. But it's so large that it doesn't just burn up all of a sudden, it explodes. When that happens, the blast releases so much energy that a powerful shockwave spreads out. And since the explosion happens in the air, it leaves no impact crater. Back in the early 1900s, with limited technology and the remote location, scientists were left with a puzzle. Only much later did they eventually conclude it had been an airburst, where an object explodes high in the atmosphere, never striking the ground but releasing enough energy to devastate the area. Most likely, it was a giant asteroid about the size of a 25-story building. It could have been moving at around 33,500 miles per hour and exploding about 3 to 6 miles above Earth's surface. Another wild story happened back in the late 90s, but it wasn't Earth that was affected. A comet got stuck in orbit around Jupiter. One day, it got too close, and Jupiter's immense gravity broke it apart, turning it into a bunch of pieces. Some of them were as big as half a mile across. Scientists were curious because they didn't know what would happen when those pieces hit the planet. And in July 1994, the moment came. The comet's broken up pieces started crashing into Jupiter, one after the other. Over 6 days, 21 chunks of the comet smashed into the planet at insane speeds, like 37 miles per second. That's more than 130,000 miles per hour. The impacts were so powerful that they heated up Jupiter's atmosphere to a mind-boggling 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way hotter than the sun's surface. When each chunk hit, it sent massive plumes of material flying out of Jupiter, like when you throw a rock into a pond, but way bigger. Some of these plumes shot up almost 1,900 miles into the sky. Afterward, big dark scars appeared in Jupiter's atmosphere, and they stayed visible for months as the debris spread out across the planet. But this wasn't just a cool space event. Scientists actually learned a lot from it. Those dark impact marks helped scientists track the winds in Jupiter's stratosphere. The crashes even caused temporary changes in Jupiter's glowing auroras, showing that the planet's magnetic field was affected by particles from the explosions. Plus, the comet fragments didn't just make a mess, they also left behind new chemicals in Jupiter's atmosphere. Plus, some chemicals were also exhumed from the lower atmosphere. Some molecules like ammonia broke down over time, but others, like hydrogen cyanide and water, are still floating around Jupiter today. This helped scientists understand how different chemicals react and mix in Jupiter's atmosphere. Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 was a wake-up call. It proved that massive space collisions still happen in our solar system. That's one big reason why NASA started looking into how we can track and prepare for any future impacts that might threaten Earth. Whether it's learning more about asteroids and comets, or about how giant impacts shape planets, the importance of such discoveries is undeniable.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.